Good morning and welcome to the daily cyber briefing for Wednesday, the 25th of July. I'm Stephen Ridgway. Microsoft has extended Windows 10 security updates for 1 year, which is, I think, a very good thing. If you are struggling to get off, if you're not off Windows 10 by now, either you don't get the importance of being off Windows 10, or you are in an environment where getting off Windows 10 is particularly difficult. So I think this is a good thing. However, if you are on Windows 10, don't use this as an excuse to push your upgrade program out to some distant, some distant date. They are saying now that extended coverage will be available until October the 13th, 2026. So good thing. I think you may have to pay for this. I think there's a small charge in whatever currency that is relevant to your region. However, it appears to be in the arena of $30, so not exactly going to break the bank. That is a piece of good news. However, see it as a stay of execution, and strongly recommend moving off Windows 10 at your earliest convenience. And of course, obviously, if you are stuck with devices that really can't be upgraded, industrial control systems are a good arena where this stuff, that particular problem arises. Make sure that you've thought about and implemented mitigating controls around those devices. Put specific protections in place around them. Don't just leave them hanging about on your networks. There is a vulnerability in TeamViewers that allow users with normal privileges to delete files using system rights. That's very badly explained, isn't it? Yeah. CVE 2025-36537, CVSS score of 7.0. That is affecting backup, monitoring, and patch management components from the TeamViewer in the TeamViewer environment. Basically, the vulnerability allows unprivileged users to delete files using the system, or using an account with system privileges, which does mean, yes, that is a significant risk, because obviously a system level privileged account can delete a load of stuff which you really wouldn't want normal users to be able to go anywhere near. So there's a long list of vulnerable versions. However, TeamViewer has addressed this vulnerability in version 15.67, which should mean that if you are up to date, you should be okay. If you're not up to date, definitely have a look. Recommend pushing out the patches as soon as you realistically can. The reason I think that it is of concern is that, well, TeamViewer remote host, TeamViewer full client and so on, is regularly used for legitimate administrative purposes, but that does mean that it can be used for illegitimate purposes as well. So it is one of those pieces of living off the land tooling that is very much looked for and prized by attackers once they've gained access to your system. So keeping it up to date is highly important. Also in the arena of things that need patching urgently, Veeam has issued an urgent security patch to fix a critical remote code execution flaw in its backup and replication software. I might definitely need more coffee before I start doing these briefings, don't I? So the most critical flaw that is being addressed is CVE 2025-23121, which is a remote code execution vulnerability in its backup and in Veeam's backup and replication software. So patches are available as far as I can tell, so definitely push out the patch ASAP. On other matters, a security researcher, okay, we're going to call him a security researcher, but he goes by the name of Mr. Docs. So, far be it from me to opine on names of things, but I'm not sure that a serious, would a serious, I mean, maybe it is serious, maybe it's just, whatever. But, okay, Mr. Docs has come up with a variation on the ClickFix social engineering attack that is being tracked as FileFix, but the evolution from ClickFix is you don't need the social engineering bit other than to get users to just follow some very basic instructions. So it still requires a certain amount of social engineering, but nothing like as much as previously. It makes use of the fact that within a browser, you can fire up a Windows Explorer window if you are uploading or downloading files. So roughly the scam is to trick a user into downloading and opening a particular file. They give you some, the location of the file, and they say copy this location. The article, GB Hackers, good article, by the way. Again, C company, internal secure file drive, HR policy.doc. Okay, that sounds cool. And the instructions are copy the file path below, open File Explorer, select the address bar, Control L, paste the file path and press enter. What happens in the background is you've actually copied a command as well as the location of a file. So, and the command in that particular case is PowerShell.exe -c blah 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 example.com blah 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 whatever. So do something to, you get where I'm going. Then hash and then the file path. So what you see is the file path, but in reality, what's been pasted into Explorer includes the PowerShell commands. There's a proof of concept code in the article that we'll link to the briefing, which kind of explains it much better than I can. The key thing with this is that File Explorer is, as it were, entitled to fire up command terminals or to execute PowerShell commands. So you can do an awful lot of stuff from there. The way that the user is tricked into doing these things is quite clever, because it literally, if you try to do anything other than copy and paste that particular link, you get warnings from the website saying, no, just follow the instructions. So quite clever, quite interesting. What can we do about this? Well, directly controlling this is actually quite difficult at the moment. Teaching users to be skeptical about instructions when they are being asked to copy and paste instructions from websites. I think that is a particularly good piece of skepticism to have. If a website says copy and paste this, that naturally rings alarm bells to me. Maybe it doesn't. It probably doesn't to a lot of people. Also, it's useful to monitor for suspicious child processes. So you might want to add event alerting based around browsers spawning command shells or PowerShell shells. Does require you to have process level information about what's happening on the endpoints, but as we've said, and I'll say it again, we'll continue to say it until it becomes second nature to everybody, 3 domains of information that you need to have visibility on in order to understand what's happening from a security posture in your environment. What's flying around my network, what information is in security logs across everything, across the whole environment, the security logs, not just all logs, but information logs. But in this case, most importantly, what's actually happening on an endpoint. So what commands are being run, what processes are running, what actions are being taken. So more than what does my antivirus tell me, what's actually running on my endpoints. So if you've got visibility of that, there's good tooling out there to do that. You might be able to get some stuff from your endpoint protection suite, but something like Wazoo is open source and very, very powerful in this space. You may have other things. I am plugging Wazoo a little bit because it's free and it's cool, but you need something at that kind of level, something probably agent based on your endpoints that will look out for this stuff. But you can spot things and write rules that would say if browser does X, trigger an alert. Other than that, keeping software up to date and educating users about social engineering tactics is about all you can do. But it is a very interesting one. I recommend you have a quick read of this. The proof of concept code, even I can understand it, which means it is pretty straightforward. So expect actual exploits to be created based on this stuff ASAP. Then finally from me today, there's a fair amount going on today, came across a very interesting article in HelpNet Security that talks about the lack of control around personal and data or sensitive data that's being ingested by AI platforms. So basically, what does the AI platform do with when you're working with AI, you're giving it prompts, right? You're giving it information, you're asking it questions, but you may well be, say, uploading a file or telling it things about yourself or about your business or whatever it might be. What happens to that data? Well, there's a very good report that's come out that demonstrates what the risks are as associated with what the platforms do with that information. The most concerning part of this is that generally their policies are pretty opaque about what they do with anything you upload or anything you tell an AI model. However, they do, to a greater or lesser extent, retain the right to and actually do pass information on to third parties. Now, you don't know who those third parties are. You don't really know what they're trying to do with this stuff. It's very poorly documented. And whilst GDPR and other such regulations should be able to give the user control over what happens to their data, there is an acknowledgement that once this stuff has been ingested into an AI, it's pretty much technically impossible. At the moment, it's not feasible to extract your data from that and to, as it were, delete it or ring fence it in such a way that you can be certain it doesn't either continue to be used for training or get passed on to other organizations. If you are particularly interested in top and tailing this stuff, Meta and Gemini, Meta AI, Gemini, and Copilot, and DeepSeek are all they present the greatest risk for loss of control of your information. Mistral AI, LeChat, and ChatGPT are the two that are least risky to use. ChatGPT has some pretty transparent what do you call it? The policies around what they do, so you have some decent idea around what ChatGPT does. Privacy policy, that's the phrase I'm looking for. It has a pretty transparent, pretty clear privacy policy. So if you want to know what ChatGPT is doing with the information you give it, it's there. The others are, to a greater or lesser extent, opaque or incomplete information about what's going on. Right, that's all from me for today. Hope you have a good start to the week. No, it isn't. It's a Wednesday. Why did I think it was a Monday? Blimey. Hope you have a good Wednesday, good middle of the week.